our show Money Means Business, and as we always say, business means money. Similarly, in business means a lot of money, but tonight also we're talking about a lot of money that we've been deprived of in the years of chaos and political turmoil, and we're taking baby steps right now to regain what we had and more. And we're talking about tourism, since we say that Egypt got it all. Well, we're talking tonight from different sides. We've got the experts who are going to be shedding light on what we're talking about. So we've got with us Mr. Samir Abbass, tourism expert. Thank you, sir, for being with us. And we got for the first time our guest, Mr. Tim Briscoe, who's honoring us with his visit for the first time. Thank you, sir, very much for being with us. And we go for a short break. After we should be coming back. Stay tuned to us. Don't go away. Welcome back again to Money Means Business, and I'm Nermin Nazim, broadcasting to you live from Cairo, the microcosm of the whole universe. I'm not saying that, writers are saying this. And we've got with us our guests, experts in tourism. We've got with us Mr. Tim Briscoe. Welcome again, sir. And Mr. Samir Abbass, again, thank you for being with us. And what we're talking about is like online tourism, cultural tourism. What do we need to introduce the tourists, or those who'd like to come to Egypt, to more than the pyramid? We've got a lot of things, of course, as Mr. Tim explained, that there is the pyramid that people would like to see first, but then there is a lot more than monuments, silent monuments that just tell history, but there is the contemporary Egypt.
That's right. In my opinion, I think anyone that has gone to school in the world will hear about Egyptian history. And anyone that maybe has enough money to travel will want to come to Egypt sometime in their life.
Yes.
I think we should show them the monuments. They're amazing. But I think if we don't introduce our guests to Egyptians, they are really missing out on what I think is the best part of Egypt, is that you Egyptians. Because you can see the pyramids and enjoy that and listen to the history, that's important. But if you can have a cup of tea, or if you can have a meal with an Egyptian, and then come away from Egypt with those two experiences together, you have really experienced Egypt.
Well, we'll talk more about that, but I'd like to see like the other part also. You said online.
Online tourism. So before talking about online tourism, I would like to give a good support for what comments about what Tim said. It's really great to see that from an eye of a foreigner, which is living in Egypt now for 6 years. That's because we live this culture, and there is lots of aspects in this culture which will never attract our attention. That it is a unique, and people foreigners will be really happy to experience that, and that's why we are very happy to have him with him today, because he can tell us what is the foreigner's perspective about it. So another topic which I think will be, as you suggested, is the online marketing and the online booking for tourism. It's became very common now, for anybody booking a holiday, booking a hotel, booking a guide, arranging for his tours, so he will search online differently.
Yes.
And second, he will start booking online. For the number of percentage of tourism now worldwide, seeking information and trying to find information about their holidays and booking their holidays online is over 70%, which is a classical tourist who will go to an agency, walk to the office and sit with an operator and talk with them about the programs they have, or read that in a magazine. That's rarely happening now, less than 30%. And there's no exaggeration in that. So in you're looking for information, there will be the second stage, which is booking. And when it comes to the booking, so he will send an email to a travel agency, which is or operator he choose, or after looking at their website, that's very important, and being impressed with the website and the service they are providing. And some of them, not all of them, they will have the direct booking tools, and that will shift us to another number, which is 30% of the direct booking, which is done online.
Yes.
So there is lots of factors here, and which is, I think that's Egypt, still needs to invest on. And when I talk about Egypt, I talk about not only the governments, the individuals as well. But this market is a very big market now, and it is a growing market, very fast growing market in the future as well. And I don't think that the individuals alone, which is travel operators and travel companies, they can afford, making a big promotions business, which is you need to put investments in that, and this money will come back to you after 5-6 years maybe. And there is no individuals which is they can have that patience to get their money back. And I think that will be the rule of the governments, not only about the money. The money, it might be not the big issue here, but also the planning and giving the incentives, the reasons for individuals to work on it. There is lots of factors when it comes to that. We are all now having smartphones, and we are on the way most of the time, and using.
It's marvelous how you convey information. And
there is lots of apps. There is countries now promoting for apps, which is you can download it for free, and promoting for a certain destination or for a certain country. And by looking at this app, so you can get any information you want, and you can do booking as well. And that's make it easier, because the number of the people internet through the smartphone and tablets is getting more than the regular computers and laptops. So there is lots of, when you compare Egypt's situation in online marketing and online tourism, I'm afraid to say that that's really striking, and that's not giving a good future, for the travel business in Egypt. Of course, not talking about the political situation, that's a completely different issue, but we can talk about that in a different episode, and today we can focus about that. And, Tim himself, Tim himself, when he book a holiday, outside of Egypt, which is normally, that's when he search first. Myself, when I book my flight tickets, I find the best deals online. I don't like to mention names actually to compare between, because that might be commercial, but it's really, I can find a very good deals in flight tickets, in everything, and that will save lots of hassle, just putting my credit card number and get the ticket, and that's what everybody looking at as well, which is saving time. Instead of taking his car, driving to an office and waiting and paying cash or with his debit card and whatever, and then receiving. So doing that online, that saves lots of time, which is considered money in the eye of people which is wealthy enough to travel today.
Yes, and then talking about also about the situation, political situation, let me just add something. For people who know other people, for example, in Egypt here, if you came before and know people, then you would take the information from them, because sometimes the media puts magnifies the situation that people think there's war in the streets and people are killing each other, and then they're being shot, and for example, what happened?
The word of mouth.
Exactly. It's like, when something happened like that, before they say the bomb and this and that, and then, a friend of mine said, how is it? I'm coming, actually, it's like, because it's like how difficult the situation is, how bad it was, and it just seems like they just get it from the people who are living here and who don't really have any intentions of magnifying or just giving a certain picture that is not existing. And talking about that, sir, how long have you been in Egypt? And talking about, as an Egyptian, we go by every day, not really noticing how Egyptians really are. It's like, we deal with them, we're Egyptians, we're just working, we're eating, we're doing this, but how do you see Egyptians?
I've lived here since the end of 2009, so we've seen a lot. And we've stayed here throughout all the different changes of government and all that's going on. And I would say life is actually a little bit harder now for Egyptians.
Yes.
And certainly in the tourist industry. 6 years ago, we traveled to many different areas of the country. Actually, we traveled together with Samir.
Yes.
He helped us to know a lot of. Returning to some of those areas in the last few years, it's been breaking.
Yes.
You walk down some of the markets, and there are a lot less people. People are still wanting business, but a lot less people. And I think everyone in those shops, they want more people.
Of course.
How can you do that? All I can say is that who's ever involved in the tourist industry, do your best. That's all I say. I mean, what I have is a very small company. But I think if we do a good job, and we work together with our Egyptian friends who are working together with us, and we do the best that we can, and hopefully say that to other Egyptians in the industry, we can encourage. I mean, just the other night I was in Khan El Khalili talking to one of the markets, one of the shop owners there, and he said, stuff. You know?
Exactly.
And you can say that because he wants business, of course he does, but he was also being really honest. You know, and you know, if he could have everyone go to his shop, he'd love that.
Yeah.
And I said, what can we do? And he said, what can I do? I said, all I can do is continue to do my best. All I can say is, since we registered our company 4 years ago, it has grown every year. And it's not a massive company, as I said, but it's grown.
Yes.
And I believe one of the reasons why it's grown is that people who have come have told others that their experience was great. Before starting our company, we did research. And I'm sorry to say that many people, up to more than 80% of people, come to Egypt, they don't want to come again.
Why?
Sometimes a lot of comments that you find on the internet is just the hassle that they get on certain sites and in certain places.
Yes.
And we want to pay this, and then we have to pay this. So what we say to our guests and to whoever they're dealing with is that this is what you're going to get, and we're going to help you enjoy it as much as possible. And I can assure you that I would say 100%. I know that sounds ridiculous, but for me, every single one of my guests has loved Egypt. And because of that, others have come. And because of that, some of them have actually come up to 3-4 times and brought other friends up there with them. Because they love the experience and they want to bring a few more. And I think if we can, every single foreigner that comes through any Egyptian company, if we can see them coming back again, not just, oh, they're here, let's take what we can from them now.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes we see that, it's like, I say rape him and just
and
run.
I'm not just saying about Egypt, many countries do that. So it's not just this country, but it's like we developed a philosophy together. They are not customers, they are guests.
Exactly.
So if someone walks into your shop and they're a customer, you're going to sell them something.
Yes.
If someone walks into your home and they're a guest, you're going to give them much more. And if you treat people like that, yes, they're paying for the service. It is a sale. Yeah. But if you treat people in the way of a guest,
of course,
they feel it.
Exactly, exactly. But then, can we learn from other countries' experience, for example, like, being treated like a guest, I mean, Turkey, for example, they try to attract every year more guests, tourists, coming there, visitors, and well, dealing with people. You make friends, and then you go every year to visit those friends.
Sure.
Is it happening this way here now? How do you approach? Since you talk about cultural tourism, how do you intend to go about that?
When we've run the business here, we know that people are paying money for a service, so they want to experience the country.
Of course.
But if that experience is positive, and they've just seen, for example, Cairo and the north of Egypt, we can say, come back and see the south. Come back and see the south, and bring others with you.
Yes.
By doing that, people are then thinking, should I pay money and come back again, or should I not? And what we have found with certainly the small amount of people that we know, they do that. But after you've seen all the country, they want to move on. People with money don't necessarily always want to return to the same country. They want to experience different countries. But if they have a good experience, they will tell other people. I'm sorry, in any industry, when people say nothing, it's good news, actually. Because I'm sorry to say, most people rather complain about things. But if things go well, they'll tell their friends it was really good. If things go badly, more than their friends that it went badly.
It could be something like this, but it just is annoying, and then it can deter others from coming.
Yeah, and that's why I believe cultural tourism is better than the standard tourism. Why? It's because they meet normal Egyptians in their own environment.
Yes.
And they mix that experience with just a typical tourist experience. And they come away thinking, this is the country really.
Yes.
I'm stuck in traffic in my air-conditioned van with my tour guide, and he or she is telling me about themselves. They're not just sitting in the van waiting for the pyramid site.
It's business. That's business. It's more.
And to be honest, our experience, Samir can maybe say, you actually enjoy your job. Because you're not waiting for a lecture. You're actually learning to get to know your guest. You're finding out about them. You're asking them about who they are. And they're asking you about who you are.
Okay, it's all about love. You know, you love your work, and you love what you're doing, and you love to give service. You know, they enjoy it too. You know, but they just do feel it. This is very important.
Yeah.
It's not, you know, so actually the subject which is Tim raised is really, could be, you know, if it was put and organized together, could be a constitution of how we can develop the tourism business in Egypt. And I will not neglect many of the problems we have, because I'm living that for 15 years now. And the reason why I will talk and accuse some practices, because I would like the best for the country. I would like the country to be improved. You know, it is very easy to say that everything is going fine, but that's not the fact. You know, we have a great advantage, which is the majority of the Egyptian people. They are by nature, they are friendly. And those who are traveling out, they can understand that, they are friendly. And that's considered a very important resource, a very important adjective, which is we can use it. But the problem is, people, when they get involved in tourism, normally they get very greedy, because they deal with people from different backgrounds. They don't know the Arabic, they don't know the prices, and there is a great temptation of making a very good money by selling things which could be for £100, could be sold for £1,000. And of course, the education system is part of that, you know. And so far, I cannot see in the education system with a curriculum which is a special materials about tourism and how to develop this industry in Egypt, you know. And I wish in the tourism cities which attract more tourists, like in Luxor and Aswan, I wish that they have a special materials which is taught in their own schools about the important attractions they have in their own government or their own city or even their own town, and how they can treat tourists in a way to attention and to make them love the country. So what Tim talk about is very much true about how people has been treated here. So, and no wonder that, you know, we don't have much number of tourists, even before the revolution, actually, compared to the world market and compared to what we have already from a valuable monuments, which is never like all over the world, is still not enough. So Dubai now, which is they are targeting 20 million tourists, and that's a very small town in Egyptian standard, you know, compared to what Egypt has. So talking about people and how you can change people, that's a very big story. And, you know, starting with the tour guide, for example, I do work as a tour guide, you know, as well. That's how I started my career as a tour guide. I was very happy, actually, in the old days, with a very strict way they choose those who apply to the tourism college. And there was, you know, I used to go through different exams, you know, just to be accepted to go in the school and have a graduation after that. Yes. I'm afraid to say that in the last 5 years it's a completely different story. You know, they opened the door wide for many private institutions, which is, unfortunately, they call themselves colleges. And normally, you know, which is you buy degree, and you ended by, and the interesting thing as well, because I give training, you know, for a newly graduate tour guide, and when I asked them, you know, so what's the reason why you are in the field, you know, most of their answer because of there is a good money from taking people for shopping. Think about this mentality, you know, and what will be the tourists or the foreigners or the guests will feel after the end of the trip. You've seen the pyramid. but he experienced, he have a bad experience of dealing with people. So that would be really a big subject, and I think that education has a very important thing about that.
Can I make a comment about that?
Yes, please.
Because my daughter is currently learning to be a teacher, and she's studying in South Africa. And what they do is 1 week in college and 1 week in a school.
Yes.
After the first year of teacher training college, half the students left because they realize if this is teaching, I don't want it. I have a suggestion to make. Maybe not saying that universities and colleges in Egypt should do the same, but at least give the opportunity for the students, even to go with a tour company. I would be happy to have one student with one of my guides in any tour, and they can just watch and observe and meet some of the guests. You don't need to pay them, they just volunteer their time, and as a student, they can see this is what it really means to be with a foreigner, and what this guide, who we as a company believe is a good guide, can help them.
Yes.
I mean, it
But
doesn't take too much.
in reality, based on my personal experience, I have lots of complaints from newly graduate tour guides, which is of companies they refused to give them a chance to go with them in training. But so that is the rule of the governments. For example, I'm not making rules, but we can make a rule, of the companies, which is will give training for newly graduate tour guides. They will give them like a cut from their taxes. That's how we can help that newly graduates, to have a good experience.
Okay, we'll go for a short break. After we coming back, teach to us and go on. We're back again now, and we're talking tourism and a lot more. So what we were saying.
So talking back about the online tourism,
Yes,
and how we
yes.
can use we have 20,000 tour guides in Egypt today. So and there is new numbers being graduated every year, and we can use this big number in promoting for Egypt online. So, and I'm not get used of raising a problem or raising a subject without trying to give a solution for that. So travel business in Egypt is based on travel companies, which is you need a ridiculous amount of money, lots of money to have to register a company, and which is normally actually those who have an experience in the market, which is like tour guides, like operators dealing with tourists, and they have an experience. Normally they don't have enough cash or enough contacts to have their companies registered.
Yes.
And the end was working for another tour companies, and the owners normally they are there because of the business and because they can make good money for that. So one of the things which is we can do, which is we can start new regulations, which is giving a chance for many of the ambitious among the young who are working in this field, not even to have 100% company like those who spend millions of pounds, to have their own companies, but like something, a small model, which is to help them, to encourage them in order to promote, because when we promote for their service, we can do a good tours. We are not only promoting actually for them, they promote for the whole country as well. And that should be the role of the government in encouraging an incentive, for many of tour guides which has had a great experience. And the most important, they know how to communicate, how they can talk with the market out there. So, and then we can shift their attention to the online marketing, which is building a big website, which is, I'm sure that Egypt has a website, but the question is how many tourists or visitors doing their booking through this website. That is a question, which is, I don't think that not that many. And
the tourists, they go to a website which is based in England, based on the United States.
In order to come to Egypt.
In order to come to Egypt. And not only actually, and these websites, they are very, very smart actually sites, which is and they spend a long time and effort, for developing their business. So just by clicking in booking a tour on this website, so you give them 20 as a minimum to 40% of what you pay, assuming that you book a tour for $1,000. So by clicking, I'm designing a good software and promoting, and by clicking, so $300 or $400 from the 1,000, it goes to this company, yes. And the 600 will goes to Egypt. Why and that's not the only problem. The another problem is that they have a control over the travel business here, because they can post anything they like. They can promote to a certain destination which they can get more money from it. So they can neglect Egypt completely, if there is some reports which is not in their favor. And they will put like a red flag on Egypt as a destination and tell people don't go now. That's happening. And what I'm talking about, that's happening today. And there is a growing number of these websites. And every week, almost in every week, I have a new email from this website which is asking me to make an account there. And in the beginning, they tell you that we will just take 10 to 15%, and when they hook you up, you end with, you paying like 30 or 40%, which is not you are paying, but and software designers to design a software, and we need like a good plan, 2, 3, 4 years, but better to start now. Because these started like 5 years ago, and now they are a leader in the market. So we have to start now before it is too late.
Who's going to be doing that? Like you're talking.
That's the government. What I'm talking about. That should be governmental.
Because it seems like with the reshuffle of the government, you never know. Now we know we've got again the Minister of Tourism.
The new one.
Yes. So how do you think that this is going to be
in his agenda?
Yeah.
It should be in his agenda, and that's why we are having this talk, Yeah. We're having this talk, because there is high officials. Well, I'm sure that they have their own advisor as well, and they cannot come, one person in the government, he cannot run the whole business on his own. One person in the whole Ministry of Tourism, he cannot generate all of the ideas which can help promoting. So his rule is to get people and to listen and put ideas together, and that's what we are doing now. We are helping them by giving them ideas, and even then giving them tools how to put these ideas in practice.
Yeah. Let me ask you now, when you started your company here, what were the troubles and the impediments you just met in order to go through that and start it?
For us, we took a little bit of time to visit the country itself.
Yes.
An accountant was recommended to us, a local accountant, and because of local knowledge, meeting local people, and then getting connected to an accountant and a lawyer who can help us register the company, that enabled us to take the step towards what we wanted to do, legal. But in the process, we were informing people that we were starting a company. But my company has grown mainly through word of mouth, actually, and where I am most passionate. My wife and I are most involved is like what happens when the people are here.
Yes. What
happens as the guests arrived and their first contact with Egyptians, how do we handle that?
Yes.
To the last time that they leave. And any time, for example, we sometimes handle groups from airport to airport. In other words, Cairo to Cairo airport.
Yes.
Sometimes we handle groups just for 4 or 5 days in a certain area in Alexandria on the Delta. However, whenever we have our people who what do we do with them? And so my greatest concern is, what are our drivers like? Are they crazy drivers? Do they greet us? And do they drive in a suitable way?
Do you train them, or just get special drivers?
We don't train them. We just get to know drivers, and that will listen out to us and say, actually, yeah, there's 8 foreigners behind me, and they're not used to Egyptian traffic. So he's going to drive a little bit more sensibly than or a little more differently, because there's guests in the back that are maybe not used to. Everyone else is driving like an Egyptian.
It's like insane, the situation.
But you're enjoying the experience. And he's polite, for example.
And to be fair in this point, actually, the government, they have already a project, and they already a project running, to train drivers working tourism and giving them a special licenses, special permissions, to work in the field as well. And it's also another tool.
There is things which is we can start as an individual on our own, because the governments, as I mentioned, they will not be able to do everything. They might listen for some ideas, apply it or not, but we will not wait until we just talk and see our dreams come true. So in the process, for example, that's one of the ideas which I came with only 4 months ago, is having a tool for tour guides to communicate with each other and with other travelers and tourists willing to visit or already visiting Egypt. And the tourists, they will share their experience. So the tour guides in Egypt will understand what people like and what people don't like. And also putting information, which it's very custom actually in our colleges, in tourism colleges, which is teaching lots of history and lots of ecology and psychology, not teaching how you can present yourself, how you can give a good service, how you can understand and answer difficult questions, for example. And because of that, that's had nothing to do with this, but there is a Facebook group which is called Real Egypt Guides. And in the last 4 months is growing growing very fast. And when I look at it now, I'm not the only one which is actually admin. There is many other which is including foreigners as well. I really get very happy because I can see that there is a community growing already, and there is people learning from that, which is tour guides in the field with me. And that's one of the ideas. It's a very small idea. Facebook is everywhere now, and even Facebook now is a very big tool already, and growing more even in the future for promoting, for tours and for booking as well. And it's it's really tourism now is not it became a necessity for Egypt, and even getting the political situation which is stable and ready for that became essential, because what we are all talking about will be waste if there is no stable political situation, safety for the tourism, and because that's actually industrial, and I think that people here, they are mainly safe because of the Egyptians. They are naturally like strangers. That's unlike many of the other, actually. They like strangers, they like to welcome them, and they just like tourists walking among Egyptians in markets and the streets. I think that they will feel much more safe than in any other place on any other country.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you, why Egypt when you chose to start or do the business here? Okay. And well, you just you've been here, like in the times of turmoil. How did you just go by? How did you feel? All that.
Why Egypt? For me, the Nile River has always had a fascination, and about living in Egypt and enabling people to come and visit this part of the world was something that I wanted to see. Can we make that happen? I also spent many years as a young man living in South Africa when the government changed from a majority white government to a black government under Nelson Mandela.
You're always going to places you like, and where the making of history, and you're just experiencing that.
Maybe. Maybe, but
you can tell a lot.
I was quite transformed by that, because I saw that as a white South African, I was ill-informed about my black neighbor, and by getting in contact through my work, I was able to get to know about my neighbors really well. And living here in the Middle East, I believe the relationship between East and West Muslims and non-Muslims is a really important topic.
Yes.
And I say that from a Westerner point of view, if we can help Western visitors into Egypt understand Egyptian history, which is deep and rich, which has a majority Muslim population, but also has a significant Christian population, there is so much to learn from that cultural interaction. That you learn about the history, you learn about how the pharaohs did lived their lives, how they dealt with the people. Then you learn about the next stage, the Greeks, and then the Romans, and then the Ottomans and the Turks, and now the most recent history. And people, foreigners, when they come in here, they're always asking questions about religion, sometimes asking about politics. We don't ask our guides to talk about politics, but if they ask questions, we ask our guides to think about, are you comfortable in answering that question to this group of foreigners?
Yes.
Because that's normal. If you were to travel to America, and you would have questions about, why do you guys all wear big hats and you drive big cars, which is not always all Americans, but you ask questions like that, or why are you guys doing this in this part of the world, you'd like your American host to answer you honestly. So that's what we ask of our guys. Just be
yourself.
Be yourself.
Yes.
And enjoy the company.
Yes.
And tell people what's it really like.
Yes.
Because I found, just with the topic of the Middle East and all that's going on, Westerners, many are very adventurous, they want to experience, but family members and people that they know are maybe less adventurous, and they're very concerned. Why are you going to Egypt? There's all this trouble.
Yeah, I said, aren't you afraid to go there? You're like...
Yeah, that's the most common.
Yeah, there's things going on in Egypt, but there's things going on in the region.
Yes.
So people who are not well traveled, when they hear about news, they think, oh, it's all happening in Egypt.
Yes.
And it's not all happening in Egypt. So when they contact myself, or when they contact like Samir, and we're able to reply an email and say, yes, this did happen, and we're not going there.
Yeah.
It's 500 kilometers or 300 miles from where you're going to be.
Yes.
And the people that you'll meet, you'll be safe, and actually you'll be very welcomed.
The question is how they can trust in you and me.
Exactly.
That's the important,
That's true.
And they will not their trust, they will not put your trust in you or me unless if there is some others, they have a good experience with us, they travel to Egypt through us, and they go back home and wrote down the reviews in an online in a special websites which is attract 30 to 40 to 50 million. So this website is controlled by individuals.
Yeah.
And these websites became a very important marketing tools. And this website is a website which is selling tours as well.
Yeah.
And getting a very good percentage actually from selling tours. So, and it is the same website which is, they have the authority to raise the red flag on Egypt as a destination. And give a wrong impression about
things,
exactly. So that's the importance of, again, to have Egypt to have an online presence and to have a big online project. Having a website in its own, that's collecting the impressions and the reviews of people. So and now to be more precise, people, internet users are getting more lazy. They don't like to read much. They like to watch and listen. That's right, And we have been talking today actually about this new app which is on which is you talk to them, you talk to the lady, and she will bring all. She will bring exactly. She will talk back to you and give you the answer. So that's an idea also which is important. We can start with it now because that's a version idea and that is still not in practice.
The others, we're just trying.
Exactly. So this idea is having a video testimonial and video reviews.
Yes.
So we are all have a very good cameras, for every tour guide, which is after finishing the tour. Would you please to leave 2-3 minutes of comments, and so we can put it on YouTube.
Yeah.
But better actually, because YouTube also is not controlled by the Egyptian governments, is to make our own review centers, and that will be based on videos, and that will be much more popular. And that will be us doing that, not other organization or other people. And these videos travel very fast, faster than words.
Well, right now you're saying on TV, so maybe they start before you do that.
I have no problem. Actually, I don't want, to be honest, I have my own channel, but I'm an individual. So
I would like this idea. I would sell it for free, you know, for anybody who will do it, but he will do it right, and that will be for the good of Egypt.
Yeah.
That's my concern.
We should be back again. We'll just proceed in the rest of our show. Stay tuned to us. Don't go away. Well, welcome back again, and proceeding with our talk, and then how do you see the future now, you know, like talking about all that, like in your company and tourism in Egypt, and what do you aim to achieve here, you know, like in this business?
Just recently we were thinking about how much further, how much bigger do we want to grow our company?
Yeah.
Because you have to make the decision when you decide to do business, how big are you going to go? And we want to keep growing and growing. But there are different stages of growth,
yeah.
And there are administrative challenges. And for me, as I've known Samir for 6 years now, and I've seen him grow his business. He's seen me grow mine. I think there can be cooperation between young Egyptians who are wanting to start their own small businesses in tourism. I mean, that would be something that I would love to see more of, because I'm all for the big tour companies. I think that's great. But I would also love to see individual Egyptians have an opportunity to grow their own companies as well. And they can also, some of them really want to work really hard. An incentive to work for themselves, to advertise maybe through these medium. You can see young Egyptians working together well. And if I'm cooperating with Samir might meet several other tour guides in the process of life, and maybe we can help each other help grow our businesses slowly. I get great ideas from Samir. Hopefully he learns some things from me. And by that, if we can encourage one another, but especially Egyptians amongst Egyptians, that would be really sweet.
And we are talking about actually two persons in the same career, you know, almost doing very much the same things, but we have no problem in having...
No bad competition, it's like you're coordinating and cooperating.
Exactly.
Instead of,
And that is not a of the market as well.
Or like the teamwork of Egyptians is just very minimal.
Remember, she said that, not me. So we haven't learned about the teamwork in our school, to be more precise. We haven't learned about that, and we haven't learned about the mutual business and the corporation. You can go bigger and more common.
I would like to challenge you on that.
Okay.
Teamwork is not really not an issue in itself. The issue is the leadership. And I've seen him bring Egyptians together and make it work. So it depends on the leadership. The tour guide or the company leader, their attitude towards working.
Yes.
If you're an individual guy and you don't want to work with anybody else, you'll see that. But if you're a team player, like Samir is, you will get people cooperating together. So it's not just teamwork. It's actually leadership and how people can work together.
And the incentive, you know. So if your reason for being in this service to make more money, you will not do that, even if you have the quality of doing that. But if for being this market to help the country, to bring people, to make them enjoying their holidays, and to be an ambassador of your country, you can do it. And that's what we are looking for.
Yeah, yeah.
And I would say passionately build your own business, but don't stomp on everybody else. Talk well about other companies, talk well about other guides, and encourage other people. I mean, I'm a bit of an idealist, you probably see that already, but I think if we can cooperate with each other and just work together and say, this is not my field, get out of my field, let's work together, you will benefit, and they will benefit, and ultimately a lot of other people will benefit.
Who knows, maybe like these ethics will be just like, spread like that, with those, who really care and love the business for the people, for, like humanity, for Egypt, then, it will prevail.
I mean, I don't know all company dynamics, but you look at really good companies in the world, or even in Egypt, what is it? It's that philosophy runs all the way through the company.
Well, yeah, Mr. Tim Briscoe, thank you very much for being with us. We'll see each other more, and we'll just know more, and the developments of the company, the developments of the business in Egypt and tourism in Egypt. Thank you very much for honoring us with your presence. Mr. Samir Abbass, thank you again for being with us. We'll have to let you go. I'll let you go right now. And I'll present my colleague Sally Lamloum with the latest in the stock market. Have a very pleasant Eid al-Adha. Eid al-Adha Mubarak. Goodbye for now. See you next week.
Good evening, hello and welcome to our weekly review of the Egyptian economy, Egyptian stock market and also the world economy, so stay tuned. Egypt's non-oil exports down 19.8% in August. Egypt's non-oil exports retreated 19.87% to 11.005 billion Egyptian pounds in August, compared with 12.687 billion Egyptian pounds for the same period a year earlier. Meanwhile, the country's total exports declined to 95.051 billion Egyptian pounds in the 8th month of 2015, down 18.7% from 109.158 billion Egyptian pounds for the similar period in the previous year. The central bank has allowed the Egyptian pound to rise against the US dollar in late July from 7.53 after its continuous decline since the start of 2015. Egypt's economy may grow 4.5% in the fiscal year 15-16, as EFG Hermes says. Egypt's economy is projected to grow by 4.5% during fiscal year 2015-2016, up from 4.2% in the previous fiscal year. The figure marks a significant improvement from 2% growth in fiscal year 2012-13 and 2013-14, and also approached the 5.5% rate before the January 25th revolution in 2011. To slash this gap, Ziada recommended that the government has to implement further fiscal consolidation to bolster the economy. EFG Hermes Managing Director and Head of Research noted that budget shortfall shrank from 13% to 10% in the fiscal year 15-16, while it is projected to slow down to 8 or 9% in the coming years, which could help reduce a ballooning public debt. The hottest commodity asset right now is a 30,000-ton steel ship. At a time when commodity producers are writing down billions in asset values and cancelling projects around the world, one niche area of the gas market is booming. Hybrid ships, called floating storage and regasification units, offer emerging nations from Egypt to Pakistan a cheaper, quicker way to attack power shortages by importing liquefied natural gas. They cost about $300 million to build, or half as much as an onshore import terminal, and are up and running as much as 6 times faster, sometimes within as little as a year. Oil still dominates international energy trade because of the ease in pumping the fuel onto ships. Gas was historically sold just via pipelines, which imposed geographical limits on buying and selling. Middle East stocks, Gulf markets fall, tracking oil and China. Gulf stocks markets fell after the oil prices again and Chinese equities dropped on poor economic data. Brent crude was down 0.6% at $47.83 per barrel by 0543 GMT, while China's 300 CSI index and Shanghai Composite Index fell about 3% after growth in investment and factory output missed forecasts in August. China is one of the main destinations for exports from the Gulf, both of crude oil and products such as petrochemicals, as its weakness may hurt economies in the region. The stock had more than tripled in price within weeks. Resumed trading in June after a 6-year suspension, but analysts describe the trade as purely speculative. Gold prices heading for 6-year low or support hardening. Gold dipped again, marking its 12th decline in the past 15 trading days as the US dollar continued to advance and equities optimists came to the fore amid apparent Fed fatigue ahead of a crucial rates decision this week. The metal slipped below $1,102 an ounce in the comics division of the New York Stock Exchange and continues to drift lower and towards support levels that have been holding prices steady in. This coincided with a 2% rise in the dollar index, which tracks the greenback against other currencies. Equities are responding to economic strong fundamentals. Gold is negatively correlated to both and will in any case most likely fall relative to income-paying assets when interest rates do rise. And now let's have a closer look at the gold prices in Egypt. The world on edge as Fed weighs rate increase. The possibility that the Federal Reserve could raise interest rates for the first time in over 9 weeks has injected new levels of anxiety in the global economy. With markets still in turmoil from China's downturn and sensitive to any added uncertainty, calls from economists for the Fed to hold off are being countered by pushes from emergency economy officials to get the long-awaited move over with. The fierce debate underscores the complexity of the challenge facing U.S. central bankers when they meet on Wednesday and Thursday. The issue is whether to pull the benchmark federal funds rate up from 0%, where it has been frozen since the financial crisis of 2008. Shanghai shares surge in late trading. Stocks in Shanghai jumped nearly 5% on Wednesday, while most other markets in the region climbed back from their lowest levels in years ahead of the U.S. Federal Reserve's interest rates division. Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index was up 2.4%, putting the benchmark up 6.7% from its close on September 7, which had been its lowest since July 2013. Australia's S&P ASX 200 was up 1.6%, having hit its lowest level in nearly 2 years on August 24th. South Korea's Kospi gained 2%, bouncing back from its lowest level in more than 2 years, also on August 24th. The Shanghai Composite Index surged in the last hour of trade to finish up 4.9%. Many investors are still hesitant to make big trades ahead of the Fed's decision. And now let's have a closer look at the World Stock Index. Dear viewers, and by this we wrap up our weekly review of the economy, Egyptian stock market, and also the world economy. Many thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more coming up on Nile International. Have a pleasant evening.